All right. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shemi Hawashai. Also giving double honor to the apostles of Great Millstone rule well, and saying peace and blessings, salutations to the hopefully elect. I'm Zahab, Spirit Wind Judah, and today I want to go into the situation that happened a few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago now, with Tony Sotomayor. I think he went out there to Harlem, and basically he got punched in the face because, of his platform. He talks about the so-called black woman. But little did he know that everything that happened is scriptural, you see? Because there's no new thing under the sun. Are these jakes out here in New York and in Harlem that's heavy into that black woman is God? They're basically under the vibration of the Queen of Heaven. They basically have the so-called black woman under the vibration of the Queen of Heaven, man. All right? They worship the black woman under the context or guise of the Queen of Heaven. And I'm going to get an example of that in the book of Acts. This is the book of Acts, the 19th chapter and the 24th verse. It says, "For a certain man named Demetrius, a silversmith, which made silver shrines for Diana, brought no small gain unto the craftsmen." All right. So basically it's saying a silversmith made shrines unto Diana. All right. Silver shrines. And he made, it was a very lucrative business. But, Paul went out there to Ephesus to teach you how to shy and to condemn those gods, all right, those idols. Verse 25, "Whom he called together with the workmen of like occupation and said, Sirs, ye know that by this craft we have our wealth." So by making crafts unto the Queen of Heaven, Diana, also known as Artemis in the Greek world, all right, they made their money, okay, and they made a lot of it. All right, whom he called together with the workmen of like occupation that says, Sirs, ye know that by this craft we have our wealth. Verse 26, "Moreover, ye see and hear that not alone at Ephesus, but almost throughout all Asia, this Paul," talking about the apostle Paul, "have persuaded and turned away much people, saying that they be no gods which are made with hands. So that not only this our craft is in danger to be set at naught, but also that the temple of the great goddess Diana should be despised and her magnificence should be destroyed, whom all Asia and the world worship." So going back to this Harlem junk, man, these guys is into this conscious movement. A lot of them, they do it as a platform to generate revenue, man, because one way you make money is by worshiping women. All right, when you make an R&B song, you're basically worshiping a woman, but you also generate millions of dollars. You have guys like Tyler Perry. They market women when they make their movie scripts and their plays, and is always using a woman as a victim because he knows if he plays on a woman emotion, he's going to make a lot of money. Okay, but these so-called black conscious people, they're no different, man. They got this so-called black woman under the vibration of the Queen of Heaven, man. All this stuff in Harlem is the modern day Grecian world, man. It's modern day Ephesus. It's modern day Colossus. Okay. It is modern day Rome. Okay. That was into that same spirit back then. Okay. And Harlem ain't nothing but a modern day Mars Hill, man. It's nothing but a modern day Ephesus, man. And these jakes is into this black conscious movement. Those are the same jakes that was worshiping Diana over there in Ephesus, man. Okay. Verse 28 again, "And when they heard these things, they were full of wrath and cried out, saying, Great is Diana of the Ephesians." So when this guy, Tony Sotomayor, speaks the truth against the so-called black woman, that's really an attack on their idol, man. Because these so-called conscious jakes idol, their so-called God, is the so-called black woman. That's their goddess. All right, that's their idol, man. All right, she's under that vibration. So the same thing happened in the ancient world is happening now. You got these jakes, they mobbing up, and he went to their platform, which was not wise. But Paul did something similar in the spirit, man. He was out there in the theater, man. I read down, verse 29. "The whole city was filled with confusion, and have caught Gaius and Aristarchus, men of Macedonia, Paul's companions, and travel, and they rushed with one accord into the theater. And when Paul would have entered unto the people, the disciples suffered him not. And certain of the chief of Asia, which were his friends, sent unto him desiring him that he would not adventure himself into the theater. So that theater was full of Israelites that was worshiping what? Ephesus. But this guy, Tony Sotomayor, he did something similar, man. He went into I forget what they call it, but it's when everybody comes together and discuss that little platform, the little social conscious platform. That's that modern day theater, man. It's full of Israelites that basically worship Diana or the Queen of Heaven, man. And if you look at the so-called black women in those conferences, see, that's what it's called now, a conference. But back then, they had the theaters, man. But if you look at the so-called black women in those conscious movements and in those conferences, they're dressed up like Diana. They're dressed up like Artemis. They're dressed up like Isis. They're dressed up like the Queen of Heaven, man. All right. Verse 30. And when Paul would have entered into the people, the disciples suffered him not, and certain of the chief of Asia, which were his friends, sent him, desire him that he would not adventure himself into the theater. Some therefore cried one thing, and some another, for the assembly was confused, and the more part knew not wherefore they were come together. And they drew Alexander out of the multitude, the Jews putting him forward, and Alexander beckoned with the one hand, and would have made his defense unto the people. But when they knew that he was a Jew, all with one voice about the space of 2 hours cried out, Great is Diana of Ephesus. So translate 2,000 years later, man, you talking shit about the black woman, B? All right, you talking shit about the black woman, son? Hey, man, it's fucked up, B. Yeah. You talking this and that about the black woman, man? Then, you have Jakes with those shirts that say, I've seen God, and I have seen God and she's black. Okay? They're talking about Diana, man. In reference to the so-called black woman, man. Okay? But those are the same Israelites that were over there in Colossians, that was over there in Ephesus, worshiping that goddamn Artemis, also known as Diana, also known as the Queen of Heaven. All right? It's the same spirit, man. All right? But, let me skip down to verse 37. For ye have brought hither these men which neither are robbers. Well, he's defending him. But that's the point. You can pretty much read Acts, the 19th chapter, and start at the 24th verse, or really read from verse 1 on down just to get the gist, the point. But, I'm just bringing out the point to tie it into what just happened a few weeks ago when a guy told me Sotomayor, got attacked by those so-called black conscious, which are really those Israelites coming back from Ephesus, man, and Colossians that were under the vibration of the Queen of Heaven, man. But with that, I hope you brothers are edified. To the next lesson, Shalom.